Today we're making wheat germ and honey hamburger buns. You can also turn these into hot dog buns. We're going to be starting out with 2 cups of milk in a medium saucepan and a tablespoon of honey. And we're going to get this heating up, not to a boil, but until it scalds. We're also adding 2 teaspoons of salt. Now you'll know it's at the right temperature when it gets kind of foamy looking on top, but we're also going to be adding a 1/4 cup of butter to this once it's nice and hot. In a separate small bowl, we'll be adding a 1/2 cup of warm water, a 1.5 teaspoons of active dry yeast, but you could also use instant or even sourdough starter. It'll just affect your timing. And a teaspoon of sugar in there, and we're going to let that sit on the side while we deal with our hot mixture here. Once it's nice and foamy on top, we're going to remove this from the heat and let it cool. It needs to be cool enough for you to do the finger test, which is when you put your finger in there, it's comfortable enough for your finger to sit in there. And I'm actually cooling this down quicker by adding this into a bowl of cold water and letting it sit for a little bit. Now that my mixture is cooled down enough, I'm adding 2 eggs as well as our yeast mixture. And then we're going to add a cup of wheat germ and then enough flour to form a nice dough. And it'll take between 7 and 8 cups of flour. I start out with about 5 or 6 cups in my mixer just to get it going, and then I'll progressively add more flour until it's at the right consistency and it starts pulling away from the sides of the bowl cleanly. Once the dough is at the right consistency, we're going to oil a mixing bowl and we're going to be letting our dough rise in the bowl for a couple of hours until about double in size. Now your dough should still be soft and pliable, not hard, yet not sticking to the sides of your bowl. That's when you know it's ready. I like to play around and form my dough into a ball shape. And then coat it with oil, stick some saran wrap over top, and we're going to let that sit. We can get other things done in the meantime. Of course, this recipe will be down in the description for you below. And this makes about 12 hot dog buns or hamburger buns. Once it's risen and looking about double in size, we're going to remove the plastic wrap and we're going to start sectioning the dough to make as many buns as we need. I made 6 larger buns and 8 smaller buns, so depending on your size, you could get more or less. I like to form these into a ball shape and then roll them around a few times and then space them nicely on my baking tray. And I have one tray that is actually meant to make hamburger buns, and the other one is just a regular tray. We're going to cover these again with saran wrap and let them sit for probably another hour or so until they're double in size again. And then once they're done, these are going to go into a 400-degree oven for about 20 minutes. These buns are light, airy, and fluffy, and they are just perfect for your summertime barbecued hamburgers or hot dogs. And it is just so much better than store-bought. Now, after 20 minutes, I took the top ones out. They were nicely browned, but the ones on the bottom shelf just needed an extra minute or two to brown up the tops nicely. We're going to remove these to a wire rack to cool, and then you can use them right away or store them in a sealed plastic bag for up to 5 or 6 days, or you can freeze them for a couple of months. These have turned out perfect every time I've made them, and I know you're going to love them, so definitely give them a try. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'll see you next time.